Hello. I'm from Brazil, and I have a story. I actually saw your YouTube channel and I really liked it. I tried to do it in green text. Be me. Be Brazilian living in south of Brazil. I have family at the north region, in a city in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. After 12 years without seeing them, go visiting for 2 weeks. Meet family. Small city, around 7,000 people. Most of the city is native from extinct tribes that used to live there. Rains almost every day. Meet with 2 cousins, simple but nice people. Meet grandma, now really old, but strong enough that she can take care of herself. They live together in a house at the edge of the city, with only a dirt road separating them from the jungle. One of my cousins, I'll call him Diego, used to go hunting tapirs and capybaras with a crossbow. Ask him if he's still into it. Yes, but not much. The next day he calls me and other cousin, I'll call him Pedro, and asks if we would like to go hunting with him. He said he found an old hunter trail in the woods some months ago, and asked if we would like to check it out. That involved camping in the woods for around 2 or 3 days. I agreed. Diego was reluctant at first, but Grandma convinced him, since it's been a while I had been in the woods and could use more help. Gather stuff to go camping. Now, camping in the rainforest is very different from regular camping. The forest is so hot and humid that you sweat like a motherfucker, and you have to keep drinking water. You have to dry your feet every time you stop, otherwise you can have an infection. We don't use regular tents, but suspended in camouflage tents. Just so you don't get stung by a giant spider at night or get stalked/jumped by a jaguar. The best place to camp is between trees at the edge of a devil's garden. A devil's garden is a clearing with very few plants of the same type in the middle of the forest. Got all the stuff for the trip. We were 3 people, but we only had 2 tents and 2 crossbows. We took 2 tents, a shit ton of water, clothes, food, a large machete and 2 crossbows. No guns, since they are very illegal here. Started walking inside the jungle. We were following a trail of some markings on the woods that the hunters used to make. The forest was very different from what it was 12 years ago. I never ventured that deep before, since last time I was too young to hunt. We walked from morning to around 3 in the afternoon. Seen some signals of tapir on the way, but we decided not to follow since we needed to set camp soon. Arrived at a devil's garden. Climbed up the trees surrounding it and set up the 2 tents. Used some dry foliage we had, to make a campfire. Dried our feet, ate something and went to sleep. Slept in tent with Pedro, and Diego slept in a tent alone. Woke up in the middle of the night. It's raining. Feel a very bad smell. Like a musky smell, with something very rotten near it. Heard something walking in the woods. Look around and Pedro is actually sitting inside the tent. Looking outside. Pedro looks at me and signals to me to stay quiet. Look outside, but too dark since there is no moon. After a while the noise stops, and we eventually sleep. Next morning we took our stuff and started walking again. Talked with Diego about the noise. He said he heard too, but said it might have been a tapir or something. See a tapir trail with fresh droppings. Since it was morning I suggested following it. Diego refused, but Pedro eventually convinced him. Started walking through the narrow path, even having to use the machete to clear the way sometimes. Followed the trail until the afternoon, and we saw a tapir half buried in the mud. Pedro shot it with the crossbow, killing it. Going off trail is dangerous, but safe as long as you mark the animal trails you walk into. Followed the tapir trail, with me carrying the dead animal tied with a rope. It was getting dark, so Diego suggested we keep going forward in the hunter's trail because there was a clearing close ahead. At this point it was getting dark and we agreed. The jungle got thicker up ahead on the trail, so we had to constantly use the machete. Found the clearing. We could see the sky getting orange on the sunset. Climbed the trees and set camp. Made a campfire, used it to dry our feet. We ate some food. We put the tapir in a bag and hanged it on one of the trees. It was not raining, and it was a full moon, so it was easy to see this time. Woke up again in the middle of the night. Hear same noise from last night. Feel same smell from last night. Look around and see Pedro sitting at the tent again, now looking really pale. He got scared a bit when he saw that I was awake. I sat on the tent and looked outside. I got paralyzed from fear. Gigantic creature walking at the middle of the clearing. It was in all fours, had thick brown fur around it. It looked weird. There was this noise of something dragging around the ground with it. The thing was there, walking really slow towards the tree that the tapir was hanged. It stood there for some time. It then standed on only 2 feet, and used the other 2 feet as support on the trees. The thing was around 4 meters or 13 feet. I was thinking it could be a bear, but not only there are no bears in Brazil, the thing didn't seem to have a head. The smell intensified and something like a black tentacle got from the middle of the thing. The tentacle grabbed the tapir and tore it out from the tree, making a loud noise. Then one of the paws of the creature helped the tentacle carrying the tapir, shoving it on the front of the creature. We could listen to the sound of the creature chewing. The thing ate a whole tapir in one go. Me and Pedro are looking, almost gagging by the smell of that thing. Then it turned to us, using the tree to support its back. The thing had a massive mouth, on the vertical, black tentacles getting out of it and some even reaching the ground. It did not have a head but what looked like an eye at the top of the mouth. It stood there, as if looking for us, making a guttural noise. Then it got on all fours again, and walked away really slowly. We could not sleep the rest of the night. Next morning at first light we got out from the tent and called Diego. He got down of the tent, shaking and looking really scared. He's seen it too. We quickly gathered our stuff and literally ran all the way back home. At the afternoon we arrived in town, with dirty clothes and various cuts from the trees. When we told what happened to Grandma, she warned us never to follow that trail again. Apparently what we saw was a Mapinguari, and she said we are very lucky to be alive. 100% real.
10 out of 10 story. If you Google Mapinguari, some look like these, and then some look like fucking this.
Well, there's just giant sloths. And then there's Lovecraftian abominations. I don't know who was dumb enough to confuse the two.